Hi, I'm Lou. Another episode of My Car Story. I'm here with Gary. Gary, what's your last name?
Gary Mondschein.
And Mondschein, and we're having a great time out at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It's Vintage Indy Racing Car Day, isn't it?
It is. It's a beautiful day here at the Speedway. It's always a pleasure to be at the greatest racing track in the world, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and it's always an honor to represent the historic cars from days gone by.
And you've got one of those.
I've got one. The car is sitting behind us right here is a 1966 Gerhardt, built in Northern California. It has a 4-cam Ford, which was the motor of choice back in the mid-60s. Jimmy Clark won the 1965 Indianapolis 500, running a normally aspirated 4-cam Ford, just like the motor that's sitting in the car behind us.
I'll grab the camera, as I usually do. Thank you, Bill. And come on alongside me, Gary, and let's take a look at your car. It's stunningly great colors, isn't it?
Yes, the car was originally built and run by a team, the Brenn racing team. This team was stationed in New Jersey, and Brenn was sort of the Roger Penske of the East Coast at the time.
Obviously number 57. We've got the Brenn racing right here. We'll get some. Tell me a little bit about the suspension. It's all chromed out here.
Well, the suspension is a cantilever front end, which means the shocks are mounted on board, and the shocks relay the strength out to the spindles through a cantilever system on the front. On the back, the shocks are mounted outboard. The car is considered what we call a monocoque, which means the whole car is aluminum. There's no real frame in the car. And the strength of the car comes from the monocoque, and the engine itself is part of the strength.
The great thing about, you know, at this time frame, we're looking at some of the different sponsors on your car, and Winds and Summit and the Valvoline. It just looks great. And tell me about this paint. Is that gold leaf or?
Yeah, gold leaf. There's no way to restore a car with vinyl. That should never happen. Everything is hand done. It's hand spun gold leaf. This car actually was mainly sponsored by Goodyear back in the day. Goodyear and Firestone were having tire wars, and this was a Goodyear car.
Yeah, right. And you drove this today.
We ran a morning session here out on the Speedway, and
how was that?
Very good. We ran this car up to 8,000 RPM, and we ran right up around 160 miles an hour with it.
Wow, that's rolling.
Well, the car is totally capable of running those speeds.
And by the way, I heard your car, like from back here in the pits, it sounded great.
Well, we just finished up a 4-year restoration on the car, and a lot of people would question why would we take out a 50-year-old car and run it that fast. In essence, it's not a 50-year-old car. There's not a nut, a bolt, or a rivet on this car that's 50 years old. Of course, the panels are, but everything over the last 4 years has been checked, rechecked, Magnaflux, X-rayed, and a lot of new parts been machined. It's essentially a brand new 1966 Indy car.
It's really fun and really cool. Now you've got the Ford engine, you said.
Yes.
Take a look at the exhaust there.
The nickname of these exhausts is Bundle of Snakes, and what Ford did is Ford experimented with exactly how the exhaust comes out of the motor, and they designed these pipes to have the easiest way to get the exhaust out of the motor and not use any horsepower when the motor's running.
Well, that is just it's the beautiful scooping and wedging you can see from the side.
This was the beginnings of the aero package. There was no wings were not allowed back in the mid-60s when this car was built, but this sweeping edge here actually helps plant the back of the car.
That is great. All right, well, let's have you stand right next to your car. Hey, Gary, thanks so much for being on My Car Story.
Thank you.